It's tabletop time.
I'm Rob. Wow, what am I doing? I'm Brick and I'm playing Brick. I am playing Brick. He is a strong bodyguard for my verbal companions, and I really wasn't ready for this.
I'm Jazza, and I'll be narrating this campaign. I am narrating this.
We're all doing well tonight.
Yeah, one day we'll get a smooth intro. But anyway, go on. Take it away.
I'm Dave, and I rolled an 11, which is lower than 16.
6.
Didn't have a 10 in front of it. I'm Dave, and I can't count.
You
And
got
I'm
a
playing
six.
Delph.
Yeah.
I got 6, yeah.
Yeah, this is the right
I read
order.
16. I read 16.
No, it was 6.
Hey,
See, none of
guys.
us can get it right tonight.
I'm Dave, and I'm playing Delvin. And Delvin's the kind of guy who likes to deliberately mess up to make his friends feel better about it. Unfortunately, Dave isn't that kind of guy and would be very embarrassed if he were to make a public mistake.
And I'm Jen. I'm playing Catalina. Again, every time I introduce her, she's the beautiful Finnistian woman.
With emotional damage.
with
That's like
emotional
always the
damage.
subtitle.
Hey, whoa.
Yes, she loves Celine Dion.
Did you know you can change a Tesla's horn to be any noise?
I did not.
So you can change the Tesla's horn sound to be emotional damage.
Really?
If you wanted to ruin
Are you being
people's day.
serious?
Yeah,
I believe
we
so.
saw it on
We
TikTok.
saw
Can
it
I
on
change it
TikTok.
to like, hey!
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
But I like how much people would get so upset by emotional damage.
Is
when
that
you
how
press
long
the
of
thing.
Hey! We're getting distracted.
We are.
Let's jump into it. Recap.
Woo!
Basically, we have in-game about, a couple of hours of play to recap. We're gonna pick up the pace a little bit.
Sure.
But it was a very substantial meeting of minds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
what did everyone take from that? Because everyone had a slightly different experience. Otherwise, the topic was roughly the same.
I don't know why Catalina was so cagey. They seemed lovely, those children of Amar. And that Melba lady, she just asked me a bunch of really simple questions. And I answered them. She was like, you're good to go. Didn't even check my driver's license for the carriage.
She's blind.
Well, I figure they put Braille on it, I guess. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't much think about it.
We found out about Russell Hale, a grey guard that has a bit of a shady past, who might be...
His shady past is that he is extremely loyal to doing the right thing.
Yeah.
He's very shady
Interesting
for a grey
interpretation of
guard.
events.
Fancy you ask.
Shady through the lens of grey guard
Yeah.
bastards.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't execute the people we asked him to. That's pretty shifty.
That's it. But could be very helpful to our cause. So we are going to meet up with him and see if he can help us.
Cool.
That's one of the things that happened. Oh, and I got some rings and a necklace that create fire.
Interesting.
Brick also had a meeting with his mother and had some very difficult questions to answer.
Were they difficult?
Not really.
And how did you end the session last week? Do you remember?
A dream?
Yes, we ended in a cliffhanger, which was a dream where apparently Medela, was like chained up in a dungeon, and we literally ended on a cliffhanger. As Brick said, I turned to her and approached mid-dream, and it was very dramatic, and we all gasped.
Cool.
Cool.
So, on that note... Wait, no, that one's too peaceful. Hang on a second.
Man, I can't believe I fucked that intro so hard.
Oh, this is...
Did you get his
gotta be
number?
something. All right.
Paper cut there.
Okay. You approach her. The moment you take a step, your foot hits the ground, you're in a completely different place. I'm going to get you to roll a perception check to sort of see what your mind does with this and what it holds on to.
What's my challenge level?
The challenge level is 4.
I did not meet that. I got a 2.
Okay. As happens in dreams sometimes, you're in one scenario and moments later you're in an entirely different scenario, and it makes sense. So you don't seem to question it when moments later you're standing in a marketplace. You recognize this as being the marketplace of Felmore. Felton. Specifically the one adjacent to the trading camp where you had been there on a few occasions, once or twice. And on one instance, you were required to accompany a group of sort of closely related people, Medela being one of them. And you and a few of your Phalancool brethren sort of on the outskirts, standing outside near the edge of town as they were sort of cautiously walking around town. Medela being the youngest among them.
Yeah.
And do you move or interact or say anything at all?
I'm going to say Rick's probably pretty immersed in the dream. He'll fall in line as if this was what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, take guard positions and be on guard for any potential threats.
After a brief period, there's a couple of children. Again, Medela's the youngest, so they're sort of young teenagers and Medela, and then a couple of adults who are just coming back from a trade meeting, accompanying with the kids and walking back. And as they're walking past, one of them looks at your stance up and down, and he pulls his traveling stick. It's a really ornate, traveling stick, and he whacks you on the leg. Says, "Your stance is weak.
Yep.
You must represent us."
I straighten and correct my posture.
Medela sort of looks at you briefly, and her eyes glint, like with a half breath of recognition. And then her eyes go wide for a split second, and she goes, "No, this isn't right. We're not here. You weren't here. What are you doing here, Brick? How did you get here?" And moments later, you feel yourself pulled into an awake state. I'm going to get you roll perception again. Let's see how much of the dream you hold on to.
So far, it's been pretty bad, right? He hasn't been remembering much.
No, I don't think I've remembered a single one.
Challenge level 3.
Well, congratulations on passing with 3.
You do wake up with those sort of fading but still reasonably distinct as you wake memories of that dream. Seems a little odd, and given that you remembered some of the other ones, felt a bit different.
Yeah.
Weirdly disjointed, I imagine, to Brick's perspective. But how would Brick be interpreting those sort of that brief exchange? Obviously, it's not you don't remember that first more pressing part as much, but
I think he just interpreted it as a weird,
Just an odd dream.
an odd dream, especially if you can't remember the first part.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What does everyone do as they wake up into the beautiful, bright new day?
I would like to see how well I slept.
Cool. Let's make some
I like
rolls.
to make my sleepy.
Let's make a juicy sleep check. Roll
I got
one
2 to
dice
make.
twice. Is that correct? I think it is.
The ring has 2.
Oh yeah, okay.
So 2 dice and
then
1.
Yep.
So this is for me.
Boop.
Damn it.
Ba-boom. So, and did you deplete that, or have you?
I haven't. I
So you still have your point.
No,
You've spent your point.
I do not. I have 1 point in the ring.
What
that
did
I
you
retained
spend? What
with
did you
Destiny.
spend your?
I haven't had my mana for like 4 sessions because I overburned myself, and then
Oh, and that was a
and I
you healed,
recovered
but
to
you didn't get a
recover,
mana
but I
back.
have failed.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the ringus, and I get 1 success. So does that mean it goes up to full at 2?
You had one.
I had 1.
Now you
so
have
that's
full.
at 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
So I can at least make my brain sharp frequently.
You have a good enough sleep. Not great. You still feel a little wanting.
I took the ring off, rested on the bedside table. It was very well seated. It had a comfortable rest. My bed wasn't to my standards.
All right, Catalina, do you have a
Yes.
morning ritual you would like to engage
Yes.
in?
I go walk over to like the windowsill. I sit and I pull out my harp and I start playing.
Okay. Take me through what you're playing.
I think this is the first time we've actually slept after everything that's happened. So I think that Catalina's going to play a song that's kind of quite long. It kind of changes and shifts in tempo and tells more of a story. and it's telling this story of like the emotion that she had with her mother and then what she had with Delvin and then kind of finally resolving all of that conflict and kind of feeling a bit close with her friends and feeling that maybe the relationships that she's built here are kind of stronger than the relationships she had back home.
Okay. Can you please make your check?
Yes.
3 dice. Boom!
Crushed it.
You smashed it with the time and space to really sink into that song. You really went at it.
Hooray.
However, I'm going to ask you to make a perception check.
No.
Challenge level 3. You smashed it. That's all right. But at the end of your song, you get this sensation that you're being watched and you turn. He won't have been there for long, but Mikey is sort of sitting outside the windowsill with an orange in his hand. He's sort of like half pulled open and he's like looking impressed. It's like, I thought you'd be up by now. Didn't realise you had that sort of thing in you. You want some? And he like pulls a few orange slices open.
Okay,
Your
wait.
window's sort of like overlooking the slant of the next part of a roof. So you sort of,
Could I reach out to grab some if I wanted to?
yeah, you
or-
could open the window.
I'm
Okay.
picturing, is it like a mini balcony with like a little, like the very small ones?
It's
with
sort of
like the pot- you put
overlooking
pots on it?
the adjacent roof. That's still part of the building. It's like a higher story up, but it's, you know what I mean? Like the window opens out to the top of the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly put my harp away.
Yeah.
Open the windows. And I'm gonna play nice and say, sure. I'll take some and offer my hand out.
How long have you been playing up for? He says as he sort of bites into his piece of orange.
A while, I suppose. Do you play anything?
Nah. I mean, tuition and all that.
Yeah.
Still don't quite know how to, spell. So
Sure.
I sort of assumed that was sort of like a later step in the process. But
Yeah. No, that's. Is that something you've wanted to learn?
it's writing.
Yeah. Well, and knowledge, history.
He looks really taken aback. Like, I mean, why would anyone teach me that?
Oh, it's just a curious question. That's all. Never mind me. I'm just
No,
my own
that's-
thoughts.
Yeah, no, never mind. That'd be a silly idea anyway. Eh?
Well-
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Didn't mean to, be all watchy woo, but I like to get my stretch in the morning, and citrus is really good in these parts. I hear.
Yeah. It's,
Turns out that's right.
it's quite delightful.
Sorry,
No.
bit weird, I know. But anyways, I've seen worse things in someone's window.
Oh.
It sort of wanders out.
Okay. Close the doors. Close
See you
the
down for
windows.
breakfast. He sort of wanders out and drops off the edge. All right. How do you wake up, Delvin?
Wow, in what chronology are we waking up? Because I feel like Delvin's, he's ready for a sleep in. So I'm going to say I'm probably going to be asleep until these guys wake me up or a bit after that.
Fair enough. You've probably got a little bit of time this morning in getting started because there's people to meet.
I
But
look a little bit like this.
there is someone waiting at the table that you guys will have sat at last night.
Are you up?
I would have said, pretty early.
Oh. Okay.
Do you do anything before heading down to breakfast or meeting anyone?
I mean, if I've got time, I'll go and try and get a carter done in some open area.
Let's do it. Early morning Carter.
Yeah.
Pop outside. Let's say, how early do you think Brick would be waking up on this occasion?
Probably before sunrise, knowing that it's easier to get my carter done when there's not people around staring at me.
All right. So we're slightly rewinding time a little bit for Brick to be up early enough
Yeah,
to be
right.
earlier than the early risers. You head outside and you notice a roll a perception check.
Challenge level?
Challenge level 2.
I got it. 3.
Okay. To your right, as you exit the tavern to sort of do your morning stuff, you notice a gathering of guards that look to be investigating something. A good 50 meters away, about 5 or 6 doors down, and they have closed off that area. sort of starting to be roped off, and there's a bit of animated discussion of a panic sort off in the distance there. That's all you notice. So you're going to get to work on your Carter.
I'm going to get to work on my card.
Let's give it a combat roll, shall we?
4.
Yeah.
Well, given our rolling cheat sheet, that is a very difficult task you just pulled off. So anyone who will have wandered by,
Actually, I should have rolled another 2 dice.
roll another 2 dice. Let's see if it changes anything. Let's make that an unrealistically impressive display
Woo! You had a good sleep.
with an extra 2 dice. So you are sharp this morning.
I like it.
It's like your redemption, Carter, after
After yesterday's failed one.
yeah, and it's been a long journey. There's been a lot to process. So this is almost like your reset, and you do get a good reset. You are sharp, quick. The blood is flowing, and you sort of build up into a flow state really quickly, and it turns into more of a performance than a military practice.
Yep.
Very quickly, you're actually feeling that
Yep.
energy you need to feel competent as a warrior, as a protector. A couple of Grey Guards sort of double glance at you and then notice the pin so you're wearing on your chest and like look at each other like, how did he who's giving him a weapon? But they sort of scurry past. As you wrap up, the glowing golden dawn is now strong, and there's a bit of motion, so you could probably head inside and get breakfast.
Yep.
As
Good.
you see
Gonna do
Catalina heading down the stairs at about that point. You open the door and I'm assuming walk in, and there's a drop of a couple of footsteps behind you from a kid who seems to have jumped down from the roof. And he looks up at you and he says, "You like oranges?"
Not particularly.
"You're lost." And he sort of wanders past you into the room.
Do I notice anything in the room? Or are they no longer there?
There is someone at the table. They look a little expectant. And it's just like a Graydon average looking traveller, slightly worn clothes, but well presented. But he's holding an envelope, and he immediately recognizes and looks at Catalina as she sort of enters up the stairs and starts to walk down. And he sort of like shuffles a little bit. He's looking a little surreptitious, but like he doesn't quite know what to expect. And he starts to half stand as you're in the room and nearby.
Okay. Is there still
Sorry,
the,
you first.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, is there still the guards in the corner of the room or that's being
There's
roped
no
off?
guards in this building.
Oh, okay. All right.
They are all otherwise occupied.
Never mind. Yes.
Catalina, is it?
Yes.
I'm here with the people you have recently associated with. I'm one of their sons.
Oh, pleasure.
Likewise, the pleasure is all mine. I was simply here to, I believe, collect someone to take them to travel.
Yes. Yes, you are. Have you eaten this morning by any chance?
I'm not hungry. I eat on the road.
Right. Let me just go get my associate because I actually don't know where this individual is that you are picking up.
I see. He looks a little confused. and
Just make yourself comfortable. I'll be right back.
okay. And he sort of sits and waits.
I bolt up the stairs. Go over to Delvin's room.
All right. And I stumble out of bed. I open the door. The door opens like half a foot and then poof, hits something solid and then shuts again really quickly.
Are you okay, Delvin?
Yeah, right, yep. I kind of forgot I just got out of bed and give me a second. There's some ruffling sound of clothes being
Clothes,
put on.
for some
It's
reason.
like maybe you get the intent that someone was about to open the door naked and then just realized that from like in their half sleepy state. And then Delvin appears, looking semi-rested and a bit disheveled. A bit very like,
Morning.
morning. What did you need? Sorry.
We have an associate here for Osbert, I believe.
Right. Well, I've got that sorted. It did take a bit out of me, but Oh, he's over there. We got a room, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that
I'll say he's bunked with Pemble. Oh, no, Pemble's off.
No.
Never mind. Yeah,
I'm happy
We
for him
locked
to
You
him
gave
in
him
a
a
room.
cot in your room. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So the door opens, and I'm like, I got the suite right.
I didn't even check.
Oh,
I-
and then I gesture across, and like the robe area, the walk-in robe door is shut, and there's like a bookshelf pressed, like dragged in front of it. He's in there on some mattresses and stuff.
And you just hear,
Was it really necessary to trap him in the closet?
I gave him a chamber pot.
Right. Okay. Well, his
What? Wait.
escort is here.
I mean, have you seen what he does when he isn't caged?
I don't.
That bird flies free. That's fine. Let's get him out of here. Can I have a hand with this?
Sure. I guess.
And we just
Yep.
move the shelf, open the door. Osbert.
he's hard to stir. He's deeply in sleep. And he looks he's got that peaceful, satisfied sort of face. So he's in a happy sleep.
Right.
I
Well,
kind of like shake a little bit, but like,
Mikey
not
sort of
aggressively.
pokes his head around the door and is like, you want me to go get a big one to carry him in?
oh, that.
Well, he's sleeping like a baby. He probably carries like one.
All right.
Sure.
Good idea. That sounds kind of cute, honestly.
Good thinking.
He sort of like skips down the hallway and I don't know, he's just having a good time. And he sort of like wanders down and
Well, his friends are back.
it's like, oi, biggin.
I've obviously been summoned, so I'm just going to follow him up the stairs.
There's a package I need carrying. Might need to tie him up extra tight, I hear.
Very well.
And I'm just going to walk upstairs still munching on food.
Yeah.
Like just like a clump of bacon.
Yeah.
Yep. Like crispy, burnt black. Got to be specific.
Very well done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I make my way up the stairs.
Yep.
Brick, good you're here. We were taking bets on how well you could bridal carry. Would you mind picking up Osbert for us?
I do not think it would be a problem.
All right.
With ease. And you pick him up. He's so fast asleep. Like you've never seen someone so deep in sleep. It seems like he really wore himself out yesterday. So he was
Yep.
pretty unattended. And I guess so you head back downstairs. This person sitting at the table looks like a little perplexed when a freaking huge Phalancool is carrying this, old, like very deeply sleeping man, like standing in front of him. So this is him then. What was his name?
Osbert.
Yeah, Osbert.
Osbert.
He's asleep, by the way. He's not dead.
No, he's completely. He's in his own place. He's in his own world. So, I recommend just being gentle with him. He needs to get out a bit, freedom to recharge, so to speak. But
Say no more.
he very much wants to go to Thanicia. So make it an adventure for him, a trip, and something he wants to do. And I think it'll be pretty easy to go along with you.
I'll make it the ride of his life. Make sure of it. All right. Well, my carriage awaits, and I'm heading off shortly anyway. So, if you could help me by carrying that a little further,
Very well.
and you load him up into the cart with no worry at all. And as that's sort of happening, he sort of turns and he sort of pulls out a slightly scrumpled envelope, and sort of shiftily gives it to Catalina.
I head out and Brick lays him in the carriage.
Yeah.
I'd like to climb in with Osbert and see if he's sort of stirring it.
He's starting to.
Okay.
You could bring him to a little bit if you want.
I would like to bring him to a little bit.
Yeah.
And just gently hold his hand
And he starts to wake. It's
and
like,
say, Osbert,
Oh.
good morning.
it's you.
Remember I said that we could get you to Thanicia to go on that holiday you'd always wanted to go on? See the Isle?
I have always wanted to go to Thanicia.
Well, your
Isn't that where they make the candles?
your distant relatives and good friends here are going to take you there, and just so you got a little bit for yourself. And I pull out a few coins from my pouch and just put it in his hand. I'm like, if you find any souvenirs you want to buy, make sure you've got a bit of coin for it.
And he like looks at it like, well, how are they going to make candles out of this?
Well, maybe you can ask him. Could be a bit of fun.
I bet they have the magic, he says, waggling his eyebrows.
I waggle my eyebrows back like equally, and I go, I bet they do, Osbert. Stay safe, and I'll be seeing you again, mate.
Okay. And he leans in and gives you a kiss on the cheek.
I give him a kiss on the forehead, and then I step out of the carriage.
And he leans back and he starts like looking at it like, how do you make a candle?
Says the guy that can manipulate matter.
Yeah. On that note,
Oh, please.
he's looking at the candle, and it gently just unfolds itself into like it's dripping.
Yeah.
And it starts to turn into like a long shape, like it feels like it could be melty wax, still held together, but sort of barely. And he's like, "Oh, it all makes sense now." You sort of hear him say as you wander out.
That's great.
I smile and look at you guys and go, it's funny. There's a bit of peace in it, isn't there?
In what? Sorry.
I just gestured at us, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's still some good in the world, I think.
well, I guess if you don't know where you are or what's going on, you can find it. But whatever. I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Well, the very best to you all and all your future endeavors. He sort of nods, climbs on the cart and there's a sort of like it's a smaller carriage. It's only meant to fit 2 people in the back, and it's got a temporary cover over the top, and he sort of rides off with his horse.
I tried to stab him 2 days ago. How people can change you.
I think there's like a prophecy about enemies and friends and stabbing each other, but I can't think of it right now.
I guess I don't know how to meet people. I find I often get very aggressive when I need. Maybe it's a character flaw. I could explain why I'm single.
Everyone roll a perception check.
I find that's when people get aggressive with me.
When they meet you.
Yes.
3.
Yeah, I'm going to say this one's challenge level. I'll give you more based on what you get.
5.
Whoa!
We're rolling hot tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oof.
I only ever roll
You
hot.
won't be outdone. And this is Mikey. Cool, 3.
I only ever roll hot when I'm firing a fusion blaster at a space marine.
So, Delvin and Mikey both sort of gather that there's commotion off in the distance, but Catalina and Brick pretty quickly, like more quickly than the other two, but also start to infer what's happening off in the distance. There's something being investigated of a violent nature, and the line that is being drawn as far as like it being an exclusionary space, it's sort of stretching out. They're noticing that it's going to be more of a problem if people are getting closer. They're starting to sort of set guards out and sort of keep people further away, at the point at which now one of them is sort of, a good like 5-10 meters away from you and starting to expand the perimeter, holding people off.
Oh, great.
Well, what is it?
I don't know, but the last time something like this happened while I was alone and...
The Grey Guard interrupts you saying, "You 4, how long have you been there?"
Gawking.
Early risers?
Like 2 minutes, right?
We were just seeing a friend off.
I point at the food Brick still has with him. I'm like, we were having breakfast in the tavern.
All right, see that you go to it and finish it.
What happened there, mate?
None of your business. And he turns.
That persuasion to try and convince him around?
You can try.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna challenge roll this one.
Can I?
Go for it. I'm gonna set a challenge level for this one. For Brick, challenge level 7. For Delvin, 6.
You don't even know what my argument is.
He doesn't care.
But he's probably intimidated by you. You just want you
And he's
around.
probably not a fan of your kind.
I got 4. It was a pretty good roll.
It was a good roll.
I can't meet this, but I'm going to roll anyway because I think
Yeah,
it's
go
a
for
good
it.
argument.
1,
Evidently not,
2.
but
2.
Come on, mate.
What's it?
What the hell is it? What's got you so rustled up?
He ignores you.
If there has been any danger, I would know of it to adequately protect my charges.
He ignores you.
Even if I flash my badge.
The city is his duty right now is the priority, and all of you are just like, as far as he's concerned, you're just like every other sticky beak, and everyone's going to have a question, so he just completely ignores you.
Well, if we want to find out, the best thing to do is press into that crowd.
No, it ain't, says Mikey, and he sort of shimmies off to the back of the building.
Well, do you want a sticky beak or do you want to bugger off? What's the play?
I stick a leg out and go follow Mikey.
Oh, okay.
Oof. Challenge level 3. You hear a clatter behind the tavern. And does anyone go to see what?
I'll go. Yeah, I follow
You
him.
followed
And I
Mikey. So
follow
you walk around.
Catalina, it becomes a chain.
And there are stacks of barrels that Mikey started to climb up, but he's flat on his back, surrounded by barrels, one of which is smashed. And he looks up at you like, I've been up this one 4 times already. How does that happen as soon as someone's bloody well watching?
What's the challenge level to climb onto the roof? 2. Okay, I'm going to, using raw Delvin's attempted body strength, athletics check to just climb the wall.
Go for it.
Fail! And I just
It's slippery. The ale that in the burst keg is like, so you're just.
Can I just lift him up there?
Yes, you can assist him. You can roll an assist. Do an athletics roll as an assist check, and any bonuses are an assist. Okay, yeah, you pick who up.
Mikey.
Okay.
Oh, you pushed Mikey up there. Okay.
Pick Mikey up. Do you say anything as you do it?
No, I'm going to actually not even let him know that I'm going to do it. I'm just going to pick him up by the scruff of his clothes. Just drop him.
Is this the tavern or the inn we were
Yeah.
staying in?
Yep.
What are the odds that the window that my bedroom was?
Other side of
Don't
the
bring
building.
logic into this.
Delvin just pats his his very padded, fluffy body, and it's just like, but I guess I'm equipped for a different kind of thing than this kind of subterfuge.
Well, possibly we both are.
Maybe
Mikey's
you
sort
don't
of
give a
peering
crap.
over the edge, just like, I got to redeem myself for that awful display. I'll find out what I can and come back. And he sort of wanders off.
Thank you.
Destiny roll this one. 12. Cool. So he's just gone for a bit, but you guys can do what you want.
Right.
I would very much like to finish my breakfast.
You know what? That's Brick, man after my own heart. Now, I was thinking about something in regards to your breakfast today. Did you know you can do eggs and you can just leave them on the bloody pan, cook them all the way through, not wet at all? Want to give it a crack?
Crack. Eggs.
I will try these new eggs.
New eggs.
I'll make sure they're nice and salty for you.
Thank you.
Just hard boiled.
We're going to go back into the tavern, yeah?
Yeah.
The inn. When we head back in, I just want to listen to anyone that is coming in and getting pushed in by the guards they've been in that crowd and been pushed in to move along, and they've come in and been like, oh, maybe I'll get something there.
Look, I'm going to say, especially this early in the morning, there isn't really anyone. There's only maybe 2 dissonant people around the room having a quiet breakfast, and I'm a little curious about what's going on that side, but ignoring it.
Okay.
But it's early enough that people in this town especially know to stay away from the guard when they're doing something.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a banquet of a breakfast ready to be set up for you guys, and I'm imagining Delvin will have established that is an important part of the
Critical.
yeah. So that's been pre-prepared and paid for. You have a note to look at,
Yeah, if we find a decent spot.
scrawled in some Phoenician handwriting. Just a few words, not even full sentences, and also slightly encoded. So you're going to need to make your trade barter Phoenician check thing.
We'll do that now.
Yep, challenge for 3.
Is that the technical term?
The
Yeah,
Phoenicia check.
it changes every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. That's important. Though. It's part of the.
I feel
part of the
Can I
mystique.
just say, I feel it's taken me 17 episodes to say this. How the hell, of all the vocational skills we could have picked, Jen and I made characters with the same bloody specialization. We're like trade barter.
They have different corners though. It's quite
Yeah.
cool how the applications are very unique, which is very cool.
Sure,
because it
yeah.
comes down to context, and in this case, you could make the same.
Apparently,
roll.
I could have done rock climbing though. It would have been more useful.
Hey,
So-
I haven't used mine at all.
You sort of decode the message, and it's pretty straightforward, but it says that Russell will be able to meet with you after his tribunal scheduled for the early morning.
This morning or next morning?
This morning.
Okay. Yep.
Sort of seems to indicate it's a swift and brief tribunal, but will be a sort of like indicates where he's expected to be after, or say outside the building. There's like a military district building that he's expected to come out of after that.
Okay. I relay this to you guys.
It also says that the replica will await you in Geldervale at the Glimmering Flask Inn on the evening of the 6th day. 6th day.
At the what, sorry? The
Glimmering Flask.
Glimmering Flask. The
Spicy.
6th day. Okay. Cool. I also relay that to you guys.
Cool.
Looks like we have our decoy. Surprisingly. I didn't think that would work.
Hey, you never know. You scratch their back, they scratch yours.
Well, I guess it means that there's a good chance your mum is safe.
How's that then?
Well, they could come through on this.
The replica is only going to stand up to getting us in a meeting with him with maybe a little bit of his guard down, but it ain't going to, stop him realizing it's not the real deal. But it will put his agent in the room with him.
Oh, sorry, I should say there's a little more to the message.
Oh.
It says we expect...
Still reading.
Sorry. I'm
sorry,
still
Kat.
going.
Sorry, Kat.
Yeah. We expect no payment, only the promise that any power recovered from Ainsley should he be dealt with, be delivered to the mother, that it may be gifted to her children for the building of the new age of magic. That was a bit I just missed, but that's sort of the main bit.
Sure. No, that's
Whoopsie.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
you turn the page over and you're like, oh shit.
Oh.
There's, yeah.
It's funny. That was actually gonna be what I was gonna offer them.
Well,
I was thinking about that as being the bargain for help, is just if we find his magic items to give it to him. Of course, I've got something I want to try if it does go that way.
go on.
I've been practicing a little bit with my special talents, and I'm starting to get a feeling for their boundaries.
So have I. I try to click my fingers and make the fight happen again.
In public?
You with the flint and steel. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, which gets like sparks, like nothing's really happening. I'm trying my best.
Well, I'm thinking maybe, we'll just see. But I'm wondering if there's something I can't grab hold of in the moment.
Why don't you make a 1 dice roll? Okay.
That's the best result you could
Yeah, it
possibly
was a
get.
6. I'm going to say you have been practicing.
Yay. Okay.
You don't do anything tangible, but you do sort of feel something. You feel like there's something there to grab.
Okay.
And you can sort of feel the shape of it. So you almost feel like in your little practice, you think, you know what, if I stick at this, maybe I can hold that.
Okay.
And sometimes maybe though your perception might deceive you, you feel like the spark is there a little longer.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Okay. Cool. Especially in this moment, I don't want to be like, obviously, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, but I do want to kind of be like, okay, showing off, but at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So how long till this tribunal thingy, right?
Well, part of me hopes that's not what's happening outside, but
Mikey pushes the door open. This is like a bit of time after.
We have a full brekkie.
And he's like, and he like clambers to the table and like leans in. He's like, holy shit, you guys.
Are you okay?
It's a mess out there. Someone killed a fucking iron guard in the middle of the street.
Wait, what?
Not just killed, gutted.
I'm sorry, what?
There was blood everywhere. It was a bloody mess. You could tell there was a struggle, but I never even heard of something like that happening. And craziest thing is, written in blood on the wall was the image of a sparrow. Absolutely bloody insane. And I never thought to connect the dots before, but in town yesterday, I overheard some stuff. Didn't think twice about it at the time. Something about heads rolling, taking out the collar again, and Operation Sparrow. And I thought, is that something to do with some sort of surgery or something? Maybe it fucking was. Jesus, messiest job I've ever seen. And to an iron guard, no less. He looks a little pale, like he's trying to be tough, like no big deal, but he looks pretty like shaken.
Mikey, I wish we could have spared you from that. That's awful.
In this town.
I might.
Cragmouth, I've heard of this town being... I mean, last town I would have assumed something like that could even be possible.
Mikey. Well, good work keeping your guts.
It's more than I can say for someone else I saw.
So,
He retches slightly.
why?
Oh, hi, indeed.
I believe as strangers in town, this could adversely affect us if we are even seen as mildly as the culprit.
But wait. That person I thought I glimpsed yesterday when you were all gone. You don't think that's... You said you saw someone like that,
The
didn't you?
shadow following us.
And the same event followed before.
That lithe-looking fella or lady that cloaked in shadows and can stalk across rooftops and move lithe as a cat.
Could be. It's the only thing that I could think of that would do something like that.
But why kill an Iron Guard?
In this town. I mean, I spent a day here and I've never seen so many guards in my life.
Well, Brick, you're the expert.
I could probably tell you what weapon was used to kill him, but I'm not sure what use I could be past that.
I can tell you that, says Mikey, looking sort of vacant. Shears.
Shears.
He was held up by the neck with an animal collar and stabbed in the gut with shears. They were still dangling from his torso. They didn't bring him down. They were investigating the scene, but... What are you rolling for?
Just to sort of hold my stomach, the thought of it.
Yeah.
4 successes, so I'd say that does the trick.
Yeah, all of a sudden, not all that hungry anymore, to be honest.
Right. Well, I did order your breakfast, but and then I start sliding a plate that's like gone cold that I'd ordered for Mikey over, and I'm like, but if you need me to finish it for you, that's...
Yeah, go on. If that's following us, what's the point? If not to make your fucking skin crawl.
I don't know, but...
I can do this to one of them. Imagine what I could do to you.
Oh, I'm not... I mean, we've got a Brick, and Brick can do that to... Brick made Iron God look like...
Sorry, what?
Oh, you don't... Oh, Brick humiliated the fucking things, the Iron Guard, in front of an entire regiment. He beat
And they
their
let
best...
you out alive?
Well, he crushed his hand like a fucking glass.
Was that on your agenda?
It was all part of getting my certification so I can carry my weapon into the city.
Well, they're not going to know about that year at this point, are they? They aren't going to draw any conclusions about who did something like that.
Oh, I doubt Brick would need to use shears to tear an Iron Guard in parts.
It would make it easier.
You're a cold son of a bitch sometimes, Brick. Holy shit. Pragmatism, right? Well, anyway, we've kind of got to stay here until we deal with this captain.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I keep thinking about this prophecy and this image of a sparrow. It's part of it. I think...
Wait, prophecy? I think I might have overheard you guys talking about this, but not in detail. What prophecy?
Well, a while ago, something came to me, I suppose, and it was very long. I wrote it all down, and I
You show
show
Mikey?
him. Yeah.
Jeez. And if I could read, this would blow my fucking mind.
Sorry.
I mean, there is a lot of like things on the page. I'm sure it's very...
Basically, it talks about magic.
I'm going to pull him over. Like, tell him, like, pull the sheep back over and tell him to, like, come over here.
All right. And look, you can be pretty surreptitious at this point, so.
Yeah, and I'm going to say read it out to him kind of like a child. So I'd say, like, I go over the words and skim them and kind of say them. So I read the whole thing to him and I kind of say it with a slow voice as well. And then specifically stop at the part where it says, the knowledge of the birth of a new age and power shall be known, and the heart of the sparrow that follows be known also.
New age of power.
No, I don't believe it.
Sparrow that follows.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry, but did you... No, there's no prophecy about us. That's nonsense.
I didn't proclaim that it was us.
Sparrow follows. Come on. This fucker's been following us the whole way since Fellbrook? No, that's stupid. I don't even know why I said it.
But I mean, if it's talking about new age of power, Mikey leans back and sort of like flexes his tiny, like 15-year-old arm.
Look, it's just a hypothetical. It's nothing.
I can see why we all found each other.
Oh. Anyway.
No, sorry, I joke, but holy shit.
Right. I don't like the insinuation that this fella's following us. But I don't like even more the insinuation this prophecy's about us. Am I alone in thinking this or what?
Of course. I mean, no, not at all. I wish that it's literally been put into my head.
Brick?
I am not sure I believe in this prophecy either. It seems too circumstantial.
I don't believe that you can't change your fate.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
Well, I don't really want no fella that follows us around murdering people to confess their love.
Well, so I kind of tie it back up and put it back in my bag. If perhaps they are following us, maybe we need to set up a trap or bait or something.
Well, I was thinking about that. Now, look, I'd never dealt with Ainsley before, but Edgar had, and you saw Edgar gave me some info. And look, he's been my friend for a long time. We talked many nights drinking and chatting. And look, not going to pretend Ainsley hadn't come up or our dealer, fucking asshole. But one thing that I do remember is he likes things confirmed. He doesn't believe in sort of happenstance and half-known truths. So if we do have a tail on us, that tail will likely follow until it gets back to Ainsley and reports. So maybe we find a way to lay a trap right before the doorstep. Because until then, he's just going to be following. And it's going to be more and more dangerous to act if we go to IRONSPIRE. I don't know how we can spring a trap in. And I look towards where I know the spire is, even though I'm inside that building.
I'm going to say at this stage too, you can start to hear a little more commotion outside building up. And there's a little more traffic starting to move sort of in and out of the inn. So you're needing to talk a bit quieter.
Well, let's reserve this conversation for now. Maybe we need to think of some ideas. But we should find out when this tribunal is happening.
I'm thinking there's a few... Well, you're right, but I think Breck will be instrumental in tactical assessment of this one. Because, you know, it's a pretty big leap to think that this person is actually with Ainsley. He might just be some kind of fucking murderer.
Or
Chasing your power or your Thanisian tail.
perhaps in some bizarre and twisted way, he's a martyr.
Wait. You said you saw this thing in Iron Edge
Yeah, correct.
before you met Ainsley?
Yes.
So that sounds like it might not be Ainsley's boy. Which means, Brick, you on board helping us catch some kind of cat? sparrow, roof cat sparrow that's
Mouse?
following us?
It is not my area of expertise to lay traps. Usually I'm in the protection field, but we could probably hatch something.
I reckon between Bakersbury and Geldavale on the last trip. It's a straight road. There's not too much bush on the sides, so the area for them to hide and tail wouldn't be too wide. And other than that, there's the river. So there
You
ain't-
all have very important work to focus on, but if I could be of use, I imagine I might be at a distance. I could reconvene with you guys on a daily basis, to figure out where you're staying and all that and report. But if I keep a distant eye,
tail to tail.
yeah.
Find their habits. Find the way they move.
And if I see them leave based on any of your movements, then at least we know what to work around.
Right. And how they move. If you can work out what their predilections are, they usually stick to it. So if we go between towns and they stick to the river or stick to the trees, well, it's going to be one or the other every time.
All right, so
Let's find something.
maybe I hang back at the start of this journey.
Right. Follow us out when you see him.
Perhaps if you could do some sleuthing as well, maybe find out the reason why these particular individuals are being murdered.
Well, what we got? Who was the one who died in the other town?
Some nobleman
Oh,
or some
Who
sort.
was the asshole in the merchant place, right?
Yeah, everyone knows him.
Well, to quote again, conspire with watchful eyes. Maybe do with the king?
Maybe. Killing people who ain't
Anyway.
aligned with his
You lot
beliefs.
seem to have a lot of eyes on you.
Oh, God.
If he's not with Ainsley, then wouldn't want to be you with the amount of people watching.
So, we gotta, yeah, right. I wouldn't be surprised. It could be anything. It could just be some fucking psycho.
Well, like I said, maybe in his own twisted way he thinks he's doing the right thing. Who knows? But we can start here.
Do you really think killing people is ever the answer?
No, not at all, but I think people are strange.
What about you, Brick?
I will do what you think is best.
Well, that's not what I asked. I said, do you think killing people is ever the answer?
In some circumstances.
Right. Mikey?
If it gets the results you need to do the right thing in the end.
That's the way I feel. But who's to be the judge of that? Not me. All right, we've got to go, do we? Or
Well, I'm happy to hang back, but I mean, what's the best way to figure out getting to IRONSPIRE if I'm a tail, but also I'm also a 15-year-old travelling from Cragbeth to IRONSPIRE in a day? I mean, doesn't have to be all that comfortable as we've been in, but on foot is going to take me more than a day.
right. Well,
And I probably can't carry more than a couple of meals on me.
are they like carriages that take people? Like a taxi service between towns? Like you can pay a fee to get transported? on a
I'd
carriage?
say the equivalent would be like the river barges.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna
But that they sort of end at this town.
I'm gonna
'Cause it's-
hand him like 3 times what any method of travel between a single one day's journey would be. So it's not a huge amount of money, but just enough money that he could and be like, all right, well, you've got to make the call. You pay for the fastest travel once you have locked onto him. So if you need to rent a seat or pay for someone to transport you, or I don't know, get a horse or something.
His eyes light up. It's like, what if I practice that thing we did in that town? Or like, play a character. I could get an outfit and see if I can pay someone to take me along with him.
Right, that's
Pretend
what
I'm
I was
fitting in.
thinking. But you got to wait till you spot the tail first.
Yeah, right.
So that's it.
Might have to pre-organise a few things, but yeah, I can do this.
You've got a few hours, Mikey. You're proving mighty resourceful.
Ah, well, I'm alive, Anna.
That's right. You're doing well.
All right. He puts his head in the middle of the table. Like,
I
Go-
put my hand in the middle of the table and go, what are we doing, Mikey? What is this?
I don't know, like some sort of, like, yeah, we're all in it together or something.
Go team fucking oppressed. I don't know.
My hand just encloses everyone.
Delvin flinches slightly and he's like, oh, he saw it the last time you did that to someone, Brick.
He stabbed me.
That's right.
All right. Well, if I get any other leads or any other information, I'll let you know before you leave town. Otherwise, good luck.
Good
Sort
luck.
of nods, tips his little cap, and ducks out the door.
Well, he's been awfully handy to.
He's
keep around.
resourceful, but I'm still worried he's going to get his head. Well, he knows what he's in for.
Yeah.
He's what, 15? Something like that? Right. He's old enough to make these kinds of decisions.
Yeah.
All right. So you know from your note that it's about an hour away from when you might expect this person to come out of that area.
Cool. Is the are we getting barred by what's happened in town, or is it a different route to go?
It's somewhat barred because this is the
Okay.
main strip that leads to the town centre. The building in which you would expect Russell to be emerging is on the same sort of length of strip, but opposite the town square. So you sort of have to navigate around.
I
a
can
little
get
bit.
us there.
By all
I've
means.
got literally a map of the city.
All right then.
Great.
Follow the map.
You don't even need a roll for it. You can.
I kind of lean back slightly so they can't see the map quite as much. I'm like playing the dad navigator who doesn't want other people to tell me which way to go.
it's upside down. No.
I've got a map.
I'm going to destiny roll. Oh, someone called me out in chat before. It was like, what was that destiny roll about? Because I did a surreptitious destiny roll. That was to see how much of the prophecy Michael will sort of remember over time.
Sure.
This is a destiny roll to see how things are escalating or not outside in town. Things are still reasonably calm. There's a lot of curious onlookers who are pretending not to be onlookers because they know they really will probably get in trouble if they're caught being onlookers. But there's a lot of bustling activity for people who happen to have something to do very nearby the edge of this perimeter.
Yep.
As you navigate around it, and you're sort of noticing people are sort of like,
Do we overhear any conversations?
let's roll perception checks, shall we? I'll give you more based on what you roll.
3. I will always accept statistical averages.
3, 4.
Jen always demands
Okay.
greater.
3 for Delvin, 4 for Catalina, and 5.
6.
And Brick, the classic all or nothing dice roll approach.
Yeah. Look, 3 for Delvin, I'm going to say nothing new. Basically, echoes of what Mikey's already mentioned seem familiar, but that sort of idea. Not even a lot of that, to be honest. More people curious. Jen, you do overhear someone saying, I thought I heard about something about this yesterday in the tavern down south. And Brick catches the specific mention of, something to do with Operation Sparrow. At least that's what I've heard it called.
I just heard the phrase Operation Sparrow again.
Right. Well, I haven't heard the phrase psycho murderer many times, so maybe it's that one.
Well, maybe our friend might know something.
The town is bustling in the town square in a weirdly quiet way. So there's a lot of motion, sort of gravitating, swarming sort of gently past and away from the edge of that perimeter with people just doing their thing. And the guards look a little like resigned knowing this is going to happen, but ready to snap someone in half if they start to be a pestering public. And not too distant from you, you can see a military building that seems much more related to sort of governance and political crap that you expect Russell to be emerging from maybe 15 minutes from now. Anything you want to check out in the town square while you're in here? It's a fairly large town square. There's a higher abundance of Fletchers and Smiths and, tailors than many average towns, seeming to be a little more military oriented. But in general, it's a big city. So there's a whole commerce thing separate to the guardship. This is just obviously HQ to a degree.
I'd like to go to a clothier. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Head on in.
cool.
Ding, the bell sort of above the door rings, and someone looks over. There's a couple of people browsing in the corners, looking at some linens. Yes, hello. How can I help you? He eyes you up and down. Do you look Barrowan?
I've been sort of masking a little bit as Graydon the whole time I've been here. Like, I'm not beard and I'm not in costume,
roll
but I'm
up.
wearing more Barrowan style clothes.
Roll an infiltration.
Yeah, Graydon style
Challenge
clothes.
level 2.
4.
Okay. Yep. Anything you're looking for in particular, sir?
I've been traveling lately and wearing through clothes. Oh, well, I should. Is that a Barrowan accent?
Yes.
Okay, I won't. I've been traveling lately and wearing through a lot of clothes, and I'm looking to just get some new clothes. Nothing overly fancy, but a man of my style doesn't often wear a pauper's wear.
Well, practical quality is all I deal in, sir.
Indeed, what I'm after. And I'll just like three new outfits, basically.
Your favorite color, he looks you up and down.
Burgundy.
I have just the thing. And he sort of wanders off and he grabs a few sort of outfit options. He starts getting a little bit like excited about like, oh, and this one, you know, with your eyes, I think this one could be quite fetching and practical, of course. And he sort of starts getting into a salesmanship mode, laying it on thick about the practicality and the fashion. Yeah.
I would like to just purchase some clothes.
Go for it.
That is all I do.
Are you getting changed now?
No, these clothes I'm currently wearing are probably still fine. But yeah, I'm thinking about all my traveling clothes that
Are you trying on clothes by any chance?
Is there a private area to try on
It's
clothes?
like a dresser. Like, yeah, there's like a, you know,
Yeah.
what do you call it? What's the divider thing? There's
I am
one of those in
awkwardly
the
going to
corner.
do it where, you know, when you like really awkward and you just take off like your outerwear, but try and clothes in over your, like your clothes. But I mean, if it's got a change room, I'm happy to get changed.
Yeah, I would say change room. It's got one of those.
Like a partition.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of those
cool.
things sort of in the corner. And he sort of throws a few clothes over there and then it tends to other customers while you're getting changed.
Cool.
Meanwhile, in the town square, Catalina and Brick, anything that you're checking out for or watching for or want to do in the brief time we have before Russell emerges?
Is there any leather workers around us?
Sure is.
I'd like to be just casually looking at something like studded leather gloves,
Okay.
as if like 'cause I'm looking to punch shit and not have a -1.
Okay. Yeah, great. So yeah, you find a sort of an armory, but that's more tailored towards leather work.
Yeah.
It's practical wear. It's easy to find that sort of thing in this area. There's a lot. This is also kind of the capital for people who aspire to become highly esteemed protectors, or you know, not even as esteemed as you happen to be. Just that people might not assume that about you.
Yeah.
Are you entering a shop to do that?
No.
Okay, so you're sort of window shopping, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah. So you're seeing the crisscrossy, like mottled glass windows, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
Window shopping. You see a fine pair in one of the buildings that you're looking into.
Cool.
I'll follow Brick.
I'm not going to buy
Go
it.
window
I don't-
shopping.
I don't have money.
After 10 minutes, Delvin comes out with like his sack looking a bit more full. What you looking at there? Rob wanders straight up to a leather worker.
Yeah. As much as I do love my weapon, it has become quite tedious. If we were to ever fight indoors, it is not very useful.
Right.
It's just a bit of help or assistance if I was to get into close combat and have to grapple or punch.
You think those gloves would fit you, mate?
Probably not.
Well, why don't we get you sized up? Might take him a day to make some gloves, but we'll be coming back through this way in a day or two.
I would not want to put you out, and we are on a tight schedule.
Would make you happy, Rick.
If it will help me protect you all better, then yes.
Well, if we don't have time now, we'll do it after we talk to the captain.
Very well.
I'll buy you some gloves, mate.
It is appreciated.
And off in the distance, you see a few people emerging from that building. A couple of them shaking their head and look pretty perplexed, but like they have other places to be. And on the back edge of that, you see Russell coming out looking quite confused and slightly, I don't know, just a bit confused. Is probably what you sense from this distance. But he's sort of viewable exiting the building. So how do you guys want to tackle this one?
I think this is either a me job or a you job. Cat, I don't think we approach as a group.
That's fine. You guys wait here. Maybe go.
Set him up with his gloves?
Yeah.
Maybe just get him to a meeting place with us. How about, and I scan the area. Is there a nice looking tavern around?
I'm going to roll the dice. There is not in this area.
The tavern we went to.
Is there a shitty looking tavern?
Just in this district, there won't be places to stay.
For our cart.
Maybe either. But you get him to that appointed place in like half an hour, and I'll sort Brick out with some leather working.
Mm-hmm.
And you wander up to Russell Hale, who's walking a lot slower than his compatriots, and they sort of wander directly. They beeline like directly for the commotion, and it's sort of to assist with that. And Russell's sort of looking a bit hazed and shaking his head, like trying to figure out what's going on. And glances up and sees you approaching him.
Hello.
And sort of comes to, good day.
Good day. Russell Hale, I believe.
He's like blinking to sort of like come to the present moment. It's like, that is I. Who am I speaking to?
Catalina. It's a pleasure to meet you. And
he holds out his hand. Afraid I haven't heard of you before.
I'm going to read his emotions.
Okay, challenge level 1. Smashed it. So you grasp his hand, and like a flood of clarity as you shake his hand, it's really clear this is someone who does not know their place in the world anymore. He just feels to his core absolutely lost, full of self-doubt, full of doubt of the world in general, and kind of heartbroken, like he's just been told a belief he's had his whole life. Like that dissonance, that feeling of cognitive dissonance is stronger in him right now than you've ever sensed in someone before.
Okay.
And you, Catalina, had something to ask me. Do you need to know where to go for something?
Actually, it's a bit of a pressing issue. I was recommended by a friend to come and approach you. You see, I'm in a desperate need of your help, and they recommended you. They couldn't stop talking about you. They said you could help me.
Recommended me.
Yes.
As you say that, you feel him like absolute shock and shame. Like, who would recommend him?
They said that you were just the best. They said that you could just help someone like me.
I mean, I would be happy to help in whatever way I can. What is it?
Well, unfortunately, we can't quite talk here. Could we perhaps set up a meeting about half an hour from now? I know you're very busy.
Well, as it happens, I'm actually not. So if I can help her... You see him catch himself about to say something.
I kind of like wince because I have a feeling he might say something. Like, I'm pretty used to people saying things about me.
You feel like someone who seems like a patriot about to say a citizen of this great nation or something like that, and he just doesn't.
Okay.
He just sort of says, happy to help any good people. And he nods and tell me where you'd like to chat.
Sure. I tell him to meet us at the tavern that we were staying at in about half an hour.
Very well. Fine establishment.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. And he sort of nods and drifts his attention away and starts like slowly breathing, and he sets himself on a bench to sort of figure out this moment with himself.
Okay. I'll wander back to you guys.
Meanwhile, at the leather workers...
So while that conversation is happening, we go into the leather workers. Cool.
Hello there. How can I help you?
My friend here requires some gloves that will fit his hands and protect him from the rigors of breaking people's faces with his knuckles.
Well,
I hold up my gigantic hands in front of his face.
Can't say I have any in your size. Let me check my stores. Okay, so that first roll was just like his temperament. With you guys, this one is what has he got? 3. He comes out just like, oh, I'm afraid even if stock were reasonable, I often don't have that size in store.
How long would it take you to make a custom pair?
Let me think. Things have quietened down a bit now that everyone's heading off for the spire run and all that. So, what are you looking for?
Brick?
When?
Yeah.
As soon as possible would be best, but I can understand it might be hard to find a cow that big.
He snorts it slightly. He's like, I like you. Listen, I know I wouldn't promise sooner than 3 days, but I think if there was something to expedite the process, incentive-wise, I'm sure I could sort something out. If you catch my meaning.
Right. I mean, rush job takes money. How much would it be?
Double it and I'll have it by the end of tomorrow.
How much is double it relative to wealth levels?
Easy for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not touching what you guys are loaded.
We're
so-
pretty rich.
Yeah.
Bling.
All right. That sounds like a deal. And I need something as well.
And what's that?
I just need a 3-inch by 1/8-inch strap, a couple of rivets.
I want to do some
Just a patch up job.
some of your own work. Yeah, not a problem. So he starts to sort of set about, organizing the booking, taking measurements of your hands, sort of intrigued, seeing some scars and
I need to get a bigger ruler.
yeah. And he's like he sort of glances up at you from time to time. It's clear he hasn't seen a Phelan call much and he probably hasn't made his mind up, but he's tenuously reserving judgment as you both seem like peaceful customers. So he seems to be minding his own business a little bit. Wraps up and sort of provides you with a sort of like a fix your own shit or make your own thing kit that he sort of pieces together.
I just need the strap and the rivets.
Yeah, so he gets all the things that you might need for whatever you were looking to do. Cool. Meanwhile, you all reconvene outside in the town square.
Right, so
At the tavern, half an hour.
we've got this big man getting some gloves made for him.
Oh, lovely.
I am very much appreciating you.
Are you thinking of upgrading anything for yourself? I mean, you've got your knife?
Well, my bag's fine, I guess. It's getting a bit loose, but other than that.
Well, I'm only thinking if we run into trouble.
What would you have me do?
Oh, nothing, but I'm just suggesting, do you want something that is a bit more stabby?
What?
Your paring knife, your apple knife.
Oh, the one they've got at the gate.
Yeah.
Catalina, I must confess, I don't think I'm particularly lethal with a paring knife. But I do have a brick. What about you? Are you gonna stab someone now suddenly?
Oh, no.
Maybe
You actually can.
We'll get you a Morning Star or
They
a mole.
confiscate your knife. You have a proper dagger that they take from you because you're trained
Yeah,
to use
that's true.
it.
That's
Why
true.
don't we get you some full plate mail and you can charge straight into the front line?
I think you're misinterpreting what I'm trying to tell you.
Right. Okay.
Upgrade your knife!
Why?
Because you're here!
But I don't plan on stabbing anyone with it.
Okay.
Just because I
It's
threatened Osbert doesn't mean I actually wanted to do it.
Osbert!
You want me to get a weapon? All right, I'll get a mace. I quite like the look of them. Look at that; they look powerful. They can cave in some armor. Don't. If you want me to get a weapon, I'll get a mace.
No, it's fine.
What do you think, Brick? The mace seem like a pretty solid weapon. Oh, look, I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy. Sure, I can put some weight behind it, swing it in there, get some. It doesn't need much finesse,
Look, all I'm suggesting is that brick is brick.
right?
I have this thing
Right.
and my abilities, and you have your abilities as well. Don't you want something more? Like, what happens if your abilities don't work?
Well, then, I fast talk my way out of the situation and pay. Maybe I pay mace, or I could buy a mace.
Okay.
I bet Mikey would want me to get a mace.
If you want to buy
now Mikey's your spiritual guidance of like, what decision should I make? What would the 15-year-old rapscallion do?
Brick, what would you recommend for someone like me? I'm pretty large in a second way, and I'm not so much talented in the murders.
I do agree that if you're big enough to throw your weight around with a mace, and it would be effective, but the places we are going, you will have this weapon taken off you.
That's what I was thinking. So, I mean, they even took me paring knife. Maybe I just grow me nails out.
It's just a thought.
I respect. I'm just taking the piss.
Now, as a bodyguard, Brick would probably have some thoughts on concealed weapons that he might suggest, just worth mentioning. So you actually could probably offer some pretty good advice.
Apparently, I could offer some pretty good advice.
If that's something you were
What
inclined
about
to
like
do.
darts? Have you ever been good at throwing things?
I pick up like a little rock off the ground.
Throw check of
Two.
which enables you to throw it to an uncommonly average.
So like a kid who gets a good rock skip across the pond.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah. Right. Well,
You do an almost trick shot.
oh,
Sort of hits the rim of something and flops out the other side.
well, I guess maybe I can throw things.
Catalina does raise a good point. It would be beneficial if you had some way to protect yourself outside that little knife. If we could find one that is small that you could conceal, maybe it would be useful.
I did like the mace. I like the mace. I like the visual of the mace.
It could be useful outside of cities, but it will not have any bearing within them.
I wonder if I can buy a mace.
It sounds like you want the mace.
I'm going to say that Brick knows of a type of Phelan weapon that is known for being well concealed. It's primarily used for assassinations, the kinds of which, of course, Brick is very adept and trained to recognize and defend against, but would be quite uncommon in these parts. You would also expect it wouldn't be something you would come across by happenstance, but could
be made.
seek out or be made.
All right, I'll get me a concealed dagger. No worries.
Fantastic. All right, let's go.
All right. And, after another 15-minute journey or so, at this point, there's starting to be a few sort of more moments of opposition you can hear in the distance. A few people sort of demanding to see something, or a few guards starting to bark commands at each other about sorting something out, or accusations. It's hard to sort of really make anything out because the general noise is starting to lift, which gives people permission to make a little bit more noise. So the guards are starting to sharpen their resolve to keep people in their place, but you can sort of get exactly back to where you need to be without much notice at this stage.
Great.
And you enter there at this point after, about an hour's passed, and the inn is sort of half full. The downstairs is with people having an early lunch and starting discussions. The rumour mill is in full force at this point. But there is a table that has... there is a table for two that has been reserved by Russell. He's sort of holding a glass of grape juice, and there's another one in front of him awaiting you. Sort of looks across and then seems to double take when all of you enter, the three of you.
Just imagining the Spider-Man meme.
I walk up to him quietly and then say, Captain Russell from Fellbrook.
We have met, haven't we?
Right, in the tavern we had a little chat.
That's right. Forgive me, I didn't recall that, but yes, no, it's all coming back to me now. You were all a far stretch from where I last saw you.
I'm gonna turn to one of the tables behind me, like, can I take this seat? Okay, thank you. Awesome, thank you.
Do you mind if I pull up a chair?
By all means,
And
but you must forgive. I'm not a captain at this stage, so no need to.
Why not?
I'm in the course of being restationed.
Right, but did they take your rank off you?
I wouldn't say I'm suspended. I would say things are undecided as I'm being reposted. But that's neither here nor there. I was hoping to be of assistance to this madam. What was it that
Do you need a drink?
I'm
Yes,
fine,
a
thank
drink.
you. What is this about?
Well,
Clearly there's something afoot here.
it's about you, Russell.
First, tell me a little bit about yourselves. What brings you to Cragmouth?
Is he getting a bit?
He's starting to be a little like, all right, what's going on here? he's feeling a little messed with.
Sure.
So he's like, you've come directly from Felbrook. You must have left shortly before or during the calamities I'm sure you've heard about.
All right, the morning after we had that party in the pub, and that drunk guy tried to make a fight. That's the last thing I remember there.
It was one of the things that started, yes. But what brings you this far, and what brings you to me?
I am going to read his emotions to start with. If that's okay.
Yep. One, and boop, you got it. Yep. It sort of comes flooding back to you. He's concerned, curious, a little worried, and very skeptical at this stage. He's sort of like not sure what this is all about. But I'll let you sort of read this as we continue. So I'll let you hold on to that shape
cool.
as you discuss.
Well, we have been approached by a certain individual.
You make it sound mighty suspicious. You are one of a few good men.
Well, I don't know about where you heard that, but
I know it. And we're looking for friends.
what for? This is all sounding very conspicuous.
Well, I must confess it is a little conspicuous, but, well, I mean, you've seen how things are out there. One has to stay a little bit quiet when you're talking about doing good in the world.
I don't mean to be rude, but I would hope you could cut to the chase. What is this all about?
I have one question for you. We haven't asked any questions. How did your tribunal go?
How did you know about that? Who is this friend that you speak of?
They're poised in, well, positions of influence within the Iron Guard.
I would be extremely grateful for a little more forthright answers. I mean to help those who have good intentions, but I have no idea what your intentions are or what you want from me.
Okay. I think let's be truthful. I want to hold on to his emotion, and I'm going to tell him who we've talked to.
Yeah.
If it shifts to anything that I think...
Trying to hold it in place?
Yep.
Yeah.
If I think that it's going to change at all, or I feel it changing, I want to shift it back and make the roll for it, if that makes sense. But if I feel like
Yes,
that's not going to happen, then I know he's calm and he's happy to negotiate and talk to me. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yep.
Cool.
The woman you brought.
I'm going to get you to make a roll for that. I'm going to say, before you do it, I'll say challenge level 1 to hold it in place. But it's just, I think this is a use the magic first to have that power in the moment.
But if his emotion
Are
goes
you
somewhere...
rolling with 3 or did you?
Yeah, 3. Yeah, it just felt
Okay, but you got it.
If his emotion goes in a positive direction, are you still going to hold it still, or are you going to let it go somewhere good?
Well, she
No.
gets the option.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I kind of like tell you to like...
I talk very quietly and say, you're familiar with Melba?
Aye. The sensation you get immediately is of surprise and then almost like okay, that makes more sense as to why this is all a bit odd.
Okay, yep, I'll let it
But
go.
you don't sense a negativity when Melba is mentioned.
Cool.
Well, you know, she has a way of knowing people's truths.
Aye, that she does.
And she told us that you were one of the few good men in the Guard. Someone whose heart was true to doing what the Guard is supposed to do and protect the people. Do what's right.
Perhaps we should tell you our story. Maybe it would make a bit of sense.
Well, I can at least tell you I have the time to listen, at least for today. So you can see his posture relaxes a little. His skepticism sort of starts to release a little bit, and curiosity starts to build a bit more.
I'm gonna go get us some drinks because I think that this conversation is gonna be a long one. And then,
Cool.
Delvin, if you'd like to start.
Well, I do want that question answered. I have a vested interest. How did the tribunal go?
It didn't.
No?
No, it was meant to be. I was meant to know what I was to be assigned to next, and the powers that be that were meant to have a say or a vote seems to think that with someone in particular missing from being able to vote, that a vote should not take place. They've just, I guess you could say, suspended with honors for a temporary period of time. I suspect a week or two until this is all sorted.
Well, I'm sure it will be sorted in the positive for you.
I see. What makes you think that? I fear my reputation has been somewhat sullied amongst the more loyal to the king.
Well,
He says this with gritted teeth, and you feel him say this with some bitterness, because Delvin knows that this is someone who considered himself loyal to the king, but Catalina feel like he's talking about. It's almost like talking about an ex-lover, someone who isn't who he thought they would be when it mattered.
Okay.
That's what that feeling is.
well, I'd say at a guess that today felt more like a 50-50 split than you might have been expecting. You've got people that are interested in keeping you doing good, and we are working for them too. But let's get back to that story, hey?
Okay, so
Come back.
tell me what you tell Russell.
Cool. I give everyone their drinks. Because I'll just break it down real quickly. I tell him that we were entrusted with a girl from Felmore. From Felmore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you tell him about Medela.
I tell him about Medela, and I say that like the struggles that we've been through, what we have witnessed in the other towns, which he's well aware, and what the King of Flames has been doing to these people. I don't tell him that we have magical abilities, me and Delvin per se, but I'll say that we have witnessed what a lot of people have witnessed and what the king has proclaimed, and just why we're doing what we're doing and why we need his help.
Okay.
And Ainsley as well. I tell him that situation is going on as well.
All right, I'm going to Destiny roll a couple of those things.
Sure.
This is a Ainsley roll. He knows about Ainsley.
Okay.
I happen to have been stationed in Geldavale multiple times, and I know of his reputation.
Right.
Never struck me as the upstanding sort. I'm not all that surprised it goes as deep as you say it does.
I wish we had your forethought before we handed her over.
Well,
I'm sorry to hear about that struggle. It'd be very difficult to have a loved one in the balance.
that's where we hope you can help. We're going to have trouble getting to IRONSPIRE, and that's where the girl's auntie is. She's a political diplomat for the Phelan. And, we kind of just want to let her know what's really going on.
This is all making a lot more sense now, especially considering Melba, the sort of people she's connected to. She's very meshed in the guard and loyal to the throne. He says that with a pause. But
Loyal to
then-
the people.
Certainly.
Loyal to the people.
And
And what the throne represents.
Well connected. Yes. Yeah. Well. You feel this like, what is that
Like
from him? Like,
unsettling.
what does that throne represent anymore? But
Delvin's picking his words very carefully, though, and he's very picking around the word of no praise to the king.
yeah.
Saying what the throne should represent.
Yeah. Very well. I must be honest with you. I don't quite know what I would be doing with my time otherwise. You see,
Well,
what happened in Fellbrook hits a little close to home, so to speak. I was actually born there. My father worked in the guard, and we ended up leaving when things went rough. And he raised me to understand that it's the good people, the one who can make the right decisions, that can avoid such horrible things happening to people. When I was stationed there, I'd hoped it would be fate bringing me the opportunity to bring a town a peace that I never knew in my childhood. I didn't get that chance, he says as he sort of chokes up.
Maybe you gotta, well, maybe bringing the king's peace to a people that don't want it isn't peace at all.
Besides, you are not dead yet.
You forgive me, but I've never met a Phalancool so engaged in civilian politics before.
This is not politics. If you want to do something, you do it. There's only one thing that can stop you.
I certainly haven't heard a Phalancool say something like that before.
he's pretty well versed.
You're an interesting group, aren't you? As I was saying, I have no significant other, no children, no commitments.
But why not start here? You could be a part of this. You could help us. You could revolutionize. You'd be the key to all of this.
I don't seek revolution. I truly seek to bring peace however I can. And if this is indeed a way to bring peace at least to one soul, trapped by a power-mongering tyrant in Geldervale, the frivolously addicted gamblers, the lot of them, as far as I'm concerned, I think I could help, at least for a few days. You just want an escort, essentially, because you stand out. I suspect that's what you're saying.
For now, we'll see how things go. But
Very well. Well,
Russell, you know war is coming. You must know that.
I'm going to roll for this one. 20! Oh, yeah. That was almost a 2. He pauses and he goes, And how did you come upon that information? I haven't even heard it confirmed at my station. I've only heard rumors. He's talking low and leaning in at this point, but looking quite... But like you feel, Catalina, when that is mentioned, shock and surprise and at someone else knowing it, but not specifically about what is mentioned, more like that feeling of your gut falling like something horrible is confirmed. But he didn't expect it to come from you.
What was your mum's name?
Fleur.
Fleur?
Yeah.
What's your surname, Catalina?
Castanellis.
Yes.
Castanellis?
Yes, correct. Castanellis. We'll just go with that.
This is Catalina Castanellis. Her mother is Fleur Castanellis. And we've just visited Bartwald Keep.
I kind of look around and make sure no one's listening to
We're
this
all talking
conversation.
very
Yeah.
I know, but still.
He's like nodding slowly, like this is all making a lot more sense with every passing minute. I see. You are more well connected than you seem as well.
We can't stop a war. We can't. But
Well, I want there to be peace on the other side of it. And there's no way we're going to have peace if that war ends with burnt Feltons and Fellbrooks stomped to the ground by regiments of troops.
I didn't think that's what we were. I didn't realize what I was a part of until it was too late. He sounds sort of hollow as he says it.
No, sir, if you'll allow me to say, there is honor in serving a guard of the people, and
This is no guard of the people, he says, sort of to himself. And you can see him in his eyes being in a different place.
well, it might be fortuitous that we've come upon you because you look like a man in need of new conviction. And while I don't expect you to swear your soul away to nothing, come with us and your eyes might open a little bit. It's not without hope out there.
If your claim is true that you seek peace and rescue, and you know what you know, which I believe you do, I would like to help. I don't know what help I can be other than as a front man, but I can see that is definitely what you need, at least right now, to get into IRONSPIRE. So
I look him up and down and I say, is he in uniform?
he is.
I say, well, that uniform's the uniform of a guard captain.
True.
And that stature and that name, I mean, yes. Yes. The ranking officers will know, but do you really think your common peasant folk will realize that you're not still of rank or you're on unpaid suspension?
You're entirely right, and I have to say, this horrible commotion that's happened here in the last day or two seems to be a convenient distraction from my turmoil. I think people have a lot more to worry about than to bother with smearing my name.
I'd say you'll be filed under deal with that later.
Very well. I'll be of assistance if I can. In fact, there are a few matters I could deal with in IRONSPIRE once you're occupied or where you need to be. Then I can escort you out safely.
I put my hand across the table and offer to shake his, and then I say,
Once again, Delvin Overson.
Delvin, I believe it was not even a week ago that I last shook your hand. As I recall, I said to you then, my intention is to bring peace, to see the ways that we could all share something in common and work together. I hope we can see something of that to fruition. And he firmly shakes your hand.
I smile, look at the two, and I look at the group, and I say,
Well, I see at this table.
he's a Graydon, right?
Yes.
I say, I see at this table a Graydon, a Barrowan, a Thanisian, and a Phelan Cull shaking hands. And we're about to go rescue a Phelan.
As you say that, Catalina, who still has the shape of his emotions sort of flowing through her sort of essence, you feel like this spark that just goes, like, pops, like there's this moment of like inspiration, like, oh shit, I'm meant to be here. Yeah. Like, yeah, this is actually what I believe in is doesn't matter who you are. If you seek the same thing, you're all the same people. So you feel that in him. Do with that what you will.
I just kind of smile and
Well, you're going to shake the man's
I shake hands and
He soon
participate.
moves on. He shakes your hand.
Yeah.
And Catalina Castanova. Castellaneta.
Just Catalina.
Cataloni.
Catalina.
Catalina
Castanellis.
Castanellis. And he moves across. And you are
Brick.
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 You have a surname, like family crest or
Just Brick.
Just Brick.
Just Brick.
just Brick? He shakes your hand.
Until your last, Captain.
Say it again.
Until
Until your last, Captain.
Until your last.
Breath.
last breath.
Oh, okay. Cool. I
I
don't
thought you were threatening for a second. I was like,
No,
what?
it's like you're saying companions until you
Yeah,
die.
yeah.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
He's like looking a little like, oh shit, like, and you actually feel within him is like surprised at that sort of peace that he's sort of feeling in this moment, because moments ago his life was pointless. Everything he believed in was broken, and the answer to maybe what he could offer seemed to find him. So there's hope in his heart.
I kind of lift up my glass and say cheers to everyone.
cheers. And to break that moment of like slight tension, I just go, cheers. Now, Captain Hale, a mace or a dagger? What do you think would suit me better?
That's a good question.
See, he was really fond of the mace, but we're thinking more concealment. So,
Oh,
This man has no practical training. It is like a toddler living around a
he
stick.
can't even throw a rock.
to go from my lifetime of experience to advising a civilian on how to properly equip themselves with weaponry is not. I might hold my tongue at this point in time.
Oh, we'll call it just a fun bit of banter across the table. I heard that crossbows are good for peasantry, and I make quite a striking peasant.
I don't think you're equipped to do with a crossbow.
How are you all planning on traveling, might I ask?
Well, we do have a rather conspicuous carriage. Well, it's more of a station coach, if you ask
Oh,
me.
bacon and eggs. Oh, no. I've
They're
seen
fine.
him.
They're at the stable. It's fine.
You're looking to enter, I'm assuming, the heart of the city.
Right.
Okay. Give me an hour.
Can we take our horses?
Of course you can.
Oh, thank God. Bacon and eggs. Just, I love.
I couldn't live without them, to be quite honest. They've
Right.
become strong companions.
Meet
at
me
this
2
point.
doors down. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
He pauses as he goes to walk off, and he sort of like double takes at the group at the table. He sort of like exhales an unexpected smile and walks away.
He is. Is it just me, or is he kind of really handsome for a man of his age?
He's got that salt and pepper
Yeah.
beard thing. He's got, you know. 6.
I guess it depends on your taste.
18. All right, what's that do, Brick?
Is he really well built? Is he like super?
Oh, he's
He has very good muscle definition.
Right? Anyway. well maintained facial hair.
Perhaps we see different things in different people.
an hour later, and you, Mikey sort of pops his head in before you guys head out, but sort of has nothing to report, but indicates that he's gotten a hold of a pony.
You fucking shitting me.
It was like,
Can you ride the pony better than you can drive a car?
I'm sure I'll figure it out. No problem. It's fun.
All right, don't walk up
There's
behind
just like
us.
a little version of the big one. They're surely even easier.
Fucking angrier.
Did you name it?
No, not yet. I was thinking sausage.
I love it.
Well, I rewarded myself last night with one, and it seemed to do me pretty well. So,
I love him.
You know it's bacon, eggs, and
Bacon, eggs, and sausage. What a lot.
hey, look, we'll be leaving with a whole, gelded breakfast. It's up, no, Geldevale. No, what? A noble's breakfast by the time we end up back where we're meant to be. All right. Well, anyways, I'll keep an eye on the tail.
All right, stay safe. And we've got a new friend, so if you see him, be on your best behavior. He's
right.
still shaking off being an upright, uptight guard.
And he used to hunt your type.
Sorry, what?
He used to hunt your type.
My type.
Yes.
He used to hunt my type.
Thieves.
He's a guard, mate.
Hey, now I know that you're jumping to conclusions there. I only borrow. And now I don't even do that. I'm an upstanding citizen, sir. thieves. He tuts and sort of
Right. Yes.
stomps off.
Well, should we go get that weapon of yours?
I. Really?
It's probably, with time, it's not realistic.
I'm just like, I think it's fine.
You're likely to be able to fish something like that out in the capital potentially,
Okay.
with different dealers, but you're not likely to find it in this town. So.
Okay.
But I'll sort of fast track this a little bit because I think we should get on the road after an hour, unless you guys have anything very specific you want to do.
No.
There is a large, recently refurbished, not quite as big as the cart you had, but clearly a military grade vehicle that is ready to be attached to horses, of which I'm assuming you're bringing.
Oh, yeah,
2
bacon and
horses.
eggs come.
Bacon and eggs are coming along.
Okay.
After a brief conversation with the cart person, you could negotiate to either have your cart held there or sold on. So sort of up to you as to what you want to do.
I think we should hold on to it.
I think it's lost half its value. It's very damaged.
True.
I think holding. Is it conspicuous though? We left in it. We should return in it. That would make the most sense. But leave it here. Yeah, I think leave it. Have them hold on to it. Because then we can return to Geldervale and it's like super obvious. Maybe we could, if we can work out with this tale, we could like have one person in the cart but the others are like sneaking.
I think
or
it's
something.
worth keeping.
Yeah, keep it. It's a
Yeah.
very, very big distraction.
Okay. So he'll hold on to it. There's a slight fee for sort of holding on to it and a period in which it needs to be taken up. Otherwise, it will be resold anyway. The cart is all hooked up. He is competent driver sitting at the front. Finally, thank God.
Great.
And he's sort of takes a moment to sort of get to know Bacon and Eggs and figure out their temperaments as he just sort of chats to you and listens into your negotiation until eventually you're all able to load up into this barred carriage that is quite reinforced and very sturdy. Nothing new by any stretch, and it's probably, considering he got this at last notice, you can tell he's had some connections here in the past that he's at least been able to pull those strings. And in short order, with a whip of the lash, the cart gets rolling and starts heading out of town.
Competent driver at the helm.
And I feel like we should give this a little bit of a pause there. I think there's maybe conversations to be had on the road as we have a new party member, but that is it for this episode of
Nice.
Untitled.
I feel like we're pushing in a direction now. I feel like we're on a path to like maybe getting somewhere. Like in terms of getting Ainsley. Like I'm like, oh, we've got a replica being built on that was ready to arrive. We're potentially going to get some help with Medela's auntie, or at least finding out what the hell the deal is there.
Yeah. It's very exciting. You know what else is very exciting? Waiting
Maces.
in eager anticipation for...
Le Patron.
Is it even... there we go. Dark Fox.
Professor X.
Hell yeah, Trit. Yell at Trit.
Amazing.
Inferno Shadows.
Tickle Duck.
Tickle Duck. Alf surprised face.
That was a good. Got good vibes at the end there. You guys turned him around real well.
That was fun.
Very cool. It was like a weird like puzzle piece connection almost. It was kind of nice.
I liked it.
Thank you for being our emotional like Geiger counter.
Anytime.
Amazing. Let us know how you enjoyed it in the comments, what your theories are, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.